Flowing from its source in Spain, the river, called Douro in Portuguese, empties into the Atlantic. In former times, it had carved out a monumental work over millions of years. The Douro Valley is one of those landscapes that take your breath away. The old, impressive, steep terraces, which were cultivated by the hard labor of generations, mark the landscape. A blooming green paradise has developed. Even the smallest corner of land is cultivated. Wherever you look, everything is wonderfully green. The area is so steep, you ask yourself, who in the world was the first to come here and master such forbidding terrain? The wine-growing region is divided into 3 sub-regions. Baixo Corgo is the westernmost region. Cima Corgo forms the heart and is also the most qualitatively interesting region for vineyards and the production of port wines. Last not least, the Douro Superior region. Thanks to its uniqueness, this fascinating cultural landscape was added to the UNESCO World Heritage Site List in 2001. With its inclusion, strict requirements concerning the preservation of the natural scenery were imposed. No new construction which might spoil the area. The natural schist walls must be restored and maintained, notably at the cost of the wine grower. Of all the places in the world where vineyards are cultivated, the Douro River provides the greatest challenges for wine growers. First of all, there was hardly any soil here in former times, only steep schist hillsides. This made it necessary for the farmers to painstakingly build thousands of walls across the hillsides by hand in order to retain the ground. The ground is composed of schist and more schist. It's omnipresent and a very important factor for this wine-growing region, where grapes were planted over 2,000 years ago. However, it wasn't until the 17th century that the Douro Valley received international recognition. The English can be thanked for helping make the port from Douro what it is today, a benchmark among premium wines. No one knows exactly how many grape varieties in the Douro Valley are actually native species. Approximately 100 have been estimated, but it could be more. Until a few years ago, the vineyards had been planted with every imaginable variety. They were all picked at the same time, vinified, and yielded the traditional port wine. Then modern times caught up. The new vineyards were planted almost exclusively with the 5 most important grape varieties. In each block there was room for one variety, just like in the rest of the wine-growing areas of the world. The hard climate in the Douro Valley, hot summer months and cool winters, as well as modest rainfall, leaves little space for agricultural use. However, the grapevines feel at home here and have helped to create a well-known and respected name for the region. Although the Quinta de Ventotelo is among the oldest wineries in the region, wine was being produced for the king here as early as the 13th century, the history of marketing wines produced at the estate started at a later date. Over the centuries, port wine was produced, which was sold in bulk to wine merchants. Today, the best wines are vinified using these grapes, which are exclusively marketed under the name of the estate. Portugal is known for harvesting cork from the bark of the cork oak. The demand for using this natural material as a bottle closure has continued unbroken in spite of modern alternatives. So there's no question here that they will continue to remain loyal to the cork. Quinta de Ventotelo is firstly a winery of international size. Consequently, you wouldn't expect to find it in this region. However, Quinta de Ventotelo is also a place of hospitality. It invites you to linger, enjoy, and relax. It embodies the savoir-faire, the siesta culture, and the Portuguese way of life in an impressive manner. Quinta de Ventotelo belongs not only to the oldest wineries in the region, but also to those wineries that use a significant proportion of their property for their own vineyards. 500 hectares in the steepest places along the Douro, of which 200 hectares are planted with grapes, is listed in the inventory of Quinta, which means estate in Portuguese. In the heart of Douro's place of origin, on the left bank of the Douro River, between the towns of Pinhao and São João da Pesqueira, you find the vineyards, whose breathtaking topography has been promoted to the brand label. This diversity of terroirs and microclimates has allowed the cultivation of a variety of grapes: Tinta Roriz, Touriga Franca, Touriga Nacional, Tinta Barroca, Suzão, only to name a few examples reflecting the varietals found in Portugal. They still sound foreign and exotic to our ears, but in the Douro Valley they are traditional. The Quinta de Ventotelo is still in possession of over 10 hectares that were planted with 100-year-old grapevines. It goes without saying that these terroir wines are produced from precious grapes that epitomize top quality. Seldom do you come across in this deeply carved, narrow Douro Valley wineries which possess terraced vineyards with different soil ratios, degrees of slope and exposures. At the Quinta de Ventotelo you will find all this and more. It has everything necessary to create the traditional character wines. Tradition, along with a necessary measure of modern technology, builds the base of their quality philosophy. The Quinta de Ventotelo does not close itself off from new findings and achievements, be it in grape growing or in cellar technology, but they continue to rigorously apply the best traditional methods. A good example of this is the picking of grapes by hand. Normally the harvests are small and only fully ripened, healthy grapes are picked. These quality factors are indispensable for the production of first-class wines. The Quinta de Ventotelo is well aware of this and acts accordingly. The wines from Quinta de Ventotelo have recently gained in quality, originality and autonomy. With clear quality guidelines and a long tradition, Quinta de Ventotelo is improving the quality as well as strengthening the name of the characteristic wines of the Douro Valley. Their infrastructure has been restored and modernized, the positioning of the wines readjusted and their image enhanced. The Quinta de Ventotelo has understood the demands for quality and the desires of wine connoisseurs in Europe and throughout the world, and has directed its efforts toward fulfilling them. Since September 2008, Quinta de Ventotelo has belonged to Real Companhia Velha, which has been producing and marketing port wines since 1756. They have over 250 years of experience in this business and are committed to 100% quality. In Vila Nova de Gaia, on the bank opposite Porto, the aging begins, where over years the young wines age into premium wines. First in large oak barrels, then according to quality and intended use in so-called pipes. A rule of thumb can be applied here. The better the vintage, the more its quality will be refined and improved by longer storage. Strategically perfectly situated here on the lower course of the Douros, a wine tradition has developed that enjoys a flawless reputation throughout the world. To this belong, without reservation, the wines of Quinta de Ventotelo.